I'm Niemira of VGX Capital, and we are live at Fintech and Funding Conference 2018, hosted by NCFA. And welcome here, Georgia Quinn, General Counsel for Coinlist. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And Georgia is a top lawyer. It's one of the best one constrained in the industry when it comes to ICOs, of course. And the Coinlist, it's a very interesting platform offering services for the companies which would like to do ICOs. And just last year, the amount of the ICOs has grown substantially. And for the last couple of years, it has grown to like $4 billion. What is so attractive for those companies to do ICOs, and particularly what is attractive for the technology companies?
So unfortunately, what's been most attractive is the ability to raise money without regard to securities regulations. And so a lot of these companies have been able to raise funds without going through appropriate channels or registration procedures. And they've, very quickly raised a lot of money all over the world from unaccredited investors, people who probably shouldn't have been making those investments, and then also offering liquidity for these tokens on these third-party exchanges that again are most likely operating illegally. So I think that's probably been one of the biggest attractions of this, is the ability to raise money very quickly without following regulations. And I think we're seeing a crackdown start to occur. Just recently in the US, over 80 subpoenas were issued by the SEC, along with information requests trying to get to the bottom of what exactly is happening. Two principal regulators, the CFTC and the SEC, testified before Congress about this industry and gave some pretty bold statements about the fact that they believed the majority of the players were operating illegally. And then we've just seen a rash of enforcement actions lately as well. So at least from the US side, it looks like this type of behavior is going to start to be curtailed. And from my perspective, it's a really good thing, because I feel that will then allow the players in the space that have been operating legally and have been fostering this culture of compliance to rise to the top and really kind of be tried by fire and come out stronger at the end of the day.
Yes, you mentioned about regulatory issues, and I think that's extremely important. And nowadays, we're talking a lot about STOs.
Yes.
So what is really the difference between STO and ICO, and why STO can be also very attractive for those companies?
Yes.
If this is really an answer to satisfy regulatory bodies and at the same time do something which is ICO-like.
Exactly. And I wouldn't even say that a token, an STO, is not an ICO. It's still that initial token offering. It just so happens that we're categorizing it now as a security and not a utility, and that's okay. And yes, that's exactly what's taking place. So as this sea has started to change and people understand that regulation is important and that we have to make sure that we abide by the securities laws, this securities token concept is coming, kind of to the forefront. And that I think it is a great solution to the problem. I think it's not the only solution. I do think there is a possibility for this concept of a utility token that's still out there. Mm-hmm. I think I may have seen one before, I'm not sure, but would love to get some regulatory guidance on how to find that and classify that. But with respect to the securities token, I think this is definitely a path forward, and it's a way to still maintain the great technology component of these offerings and really kind of the revolutionary potential that they have, and also comply with a regulatory regime to ensure that, the burden is really on the issuer, on that company raising money. And the worst thing that could happen is, a year down the road, after they've spent all the money that investors, gave to them, investors come back with a rescission right and ask for their money back. That's really not the situation that you want to have happen. And so doing something, while it may seem like a burden up front to comply with the regulatory regime, really is like an insurance policy for that company when they're raising funds.
Yes, regulatory issue. Like, yes, we're talking about the investors coming back, but also regulators coming back and questioning all those things. So do you think that STOs can go concurrently with ICOs, or they will replace ICOs?
I think that an STO a securities token offering is an initial coin offering. Initial coin offering just means it's the first public offering of those tokens. And if those tokens happen to be security tokens, so be it. So I think it's kind of synonymous.
All right. Perfect. Well, Georgia, thank you very much. We really appreciate you being here.
Of course, thank you.
And enjoy the conference.
Yep, will do.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thanks.